Welcome to the upstreamlife.com. I'm your founder and editor, Vishal Krishna. Today, I have with me Mr. Raj Kancham, the founder of Krishikan. Krishikan is a platform that looks at soil health. It looks at data in agriculture from the input side, and they make sure that the farm produce reaches these B2B industries or processing units. By the way, this industry will also tell you why Indian agriculture has to change. If you're one of those aficionados who wants to get into ag tech, then this is the interview for you. By the way, this interview is brought to you by Finverse.guru, an app that allows you to reskill and upskill in finance. If you're an engineer or a BCom student who wants to get into finance, then this is the place to be, Finverse.guru. I start this interview by asking Raj Kancham why he got into Agri-Tech. Raj, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
I'll tell you what, the reason why we're sitting here is to talk about how Indian agriculture has changed over a decade. You've been doing this agri-tech business for a decade. You worked with others. You also worked in corporate and you've started Krishikan.
Yeah.
So while a major portion of this podcast will talk about how agriculture has changed, I also want to know what is Krishikan.
Yeah.
And probably I want to understand what the platform is. I heard it's into agronomy. So tell us what's Krishikan.
Krishikan has started in 2020 May.
Okay.
And Krishikan works only on the spice value chain.
Okay.
You talk about spices, India is the spice bowl of the world. And India is one of the largest producing country for spices. You talk about Europeans coming to India through spice route. So history connects to this particular side of it.
Very important side of Indian history.
Exactly.
Came here for the spices.
Yes, spices.
And there was a supply chain for it.
Absolutely. So, and in spices, chili is the largest, accumulates to close to 50% of the entire spice basket. And we work with farmers from sowing to harvest with the farmer side of it. We provide a complete solution for farmers through this particular platform called Krishikan, sowing to transplantation to growing all the way and then harvest. This is the phase we work with farmers.
And buyback also.
And at the harvest, we buy and we work with the industry.
Okay.
So you can call it as factory, farm to factory model.
Input to factory.
Input to factory. Brilliant. Completely. And first phase, 50% we work with farmers, majorly for two reasons. One is if you see last 20 years data, and every year input cost is going up and productivity is coming down. To maintain the same level of productivity, on average today farmers are making 20 quintals across 1 acre, 20 quintals
a season?
Season, yes. And it's a monocrop. Okay. It's a 1 year. It's 9 months crop. Okay. They're making 20 quintals. In this, to maintain 20 quintals, every year cost is going up on inputs by 10% minimum.
Okay.
Minimum is 10%. So when we digged into a little more deeper into it, we see issues with the primary reason for this is soil health.
Okay.
If you go back 40 years, Green Revolution started in 1979, and then we have a need to grow more food. So we concentrate on the productivity of the crop. So slowly we moved from soil-centric farming to plant-centric farming. So now we look at, we have nurseries, evolution of nurseries, hybridization is happening in India last 30 years. So what happens is, before, as a child, I have seen it, farmers making the farmland ready 15 days before the rainy season starts, and then they use the farmyard manure, they make the farm ready, everything ready, so that as soon as season starts, one rain comes, they go sow the seeds, and then it grows. And then they also majorly look at the crop nutrition based on the soil. So soil health was never been a problem as such. So it's not a major problem. But if you see after hybridization, we have a evolution of nurseries. So as a farmer, if I am growing 5 acres, I will not make the land ready 15 days before the thing. After the first rain comes, I give an order to the nursery saying that I need 5 acres worth of need of population. I grow 15,000 plants per acre. So 75,000 saplings I order to the nursery. Nursery guy gives me, if I'm ordering on, day 1, after 35 days, I get the plants.
Okay.
So
this is after the first rain.
After the first rain.
Okay.
So typically, before the sowing happens in June, historically, now directly they go for transplantation. So they start the activities after first rain. They make the beds ready. They go to the nursery, get the plants and sow it. And then from there, they look at only plant health. So because of this, we are actually loading the soil with more and more fertilizers. And in this, there is no rationale behind it, like saying that, like say, agricultural universities suggest something, they have KVK suggest something. There is prescribed models for it. But farmers, by the time the knowledge reached to the farmer, farmers are not actually in tandem with whatever industry or, like say, farm
Why is
wants
that?
it. There is a gap. Like say, I look at, like, my neighbor is growing, like say, 25 quintals, so I compete with him. In terms of that, like, so I go and put more and more fertilizer to it.
So on one level, we're ordering saplings, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Instead of sowing seeds.
Yeah.
Right. But you're saying the problem is there's too much fertilizer going in
Exactly.
to prepare for that sapling.
To make the plant maintenance and health maintenance, all that, because of you, over a period of time, like say last 30 years, you're loading more and more urea. Obviously, like say whatever the soil organic carbon levels depleted. Like typically in a soil, like we expect 5% of soil organic carbon. Today in South India, if you look at the data, average would be like say the Telugu states 0.2, 0.3. Karnataka also 0.3, 0.4 kind of a thing. More or less, it is below 1%. So, soil organic carbon is a heart, like a human body, you have a heart.
Yes.
So, soil organic carbon is heart for the soil. When heart is not functioning, obviously you put a lot of steroids, artificial life from outside. So, obviously the load on the plant will become more. And because of that, there is a abiotic stress, means external stress is happening. It is a very error prone kind of a thing. There is a pest attack happens, so very easy to, it's a susceptible for the pest attacks. So obviously the cost of inputs is going up. This is where the major problem is happening.
That's what you want to solve.
Exactly. We are solving that particular
How are you
problem.
solving that?
We put, like say, we program complete package of practices. We have an agronomist in-house.
Okay.
This guy makes complete package of practices working with Agricultural University and also the best practices in the nearest research stations. We have research stations in Telangana, we have it in Andhra, we have it in Karnataka. We work with this. We take the basic package of practices. We also map that with the soil health.
Okay.
And these two, based on that, we make a workable plan for the farmer.
What's this called again? What practice is it?
Package of practices.
Package of practices. Okay.
So package of practices tells you the farmer, like say, once you transplant, like say July 25th is the date that you're transplanting. So week 1, 7th day, you do this. There is a 16 to 17 weeks life cycle. It goes on kind of a thing. And then every week what need to be done. And then we also tell, like say, observe, like say week, 3rd week, you can see some white pest disease might come in. So that some attacks will be there. We tell them, like say, give rough indications on, like say, if leaf is turning little yellowish red kind of a thing, maybe some deficiency, look at this, pump this. Or when pest attack comes, leaf curl will come. Leaf curl is inner leaf curl, outer leaf curl. All that we give it as an indication. Based on this, farmers can at least know that, like, okay, this is happening. If at all I can't do anything, let me call SOS kind of a thing, call our person. We have a feet on street model that we operate.
Okay.
So we have people like from agricultural diploma colleges and agri universities. We hire them. They work as field officers.
I like this model. You're basically saying you're agri-tech in a way, but what does a farmer care about agri-tech? You're
Exactly.
saying it's too much of nonsense and narrative out there. I want to say it.
Yeah.
You're saying we haven't even solved the basic problems.
Of course, yes.
And we're talking agri-tech.
Yeah.
But yet, obviously, it's a narrative to raise money for everybody. What portion of your business is technology?
Today, technology is majorly an enabler for us. Like, say, you talk about major MNCs, you talk about defense companies, or like, say, aeronautical companies, all that. They work on different, it's a technology companies. But if you come to technology in larger perspective, if you talk about fintech, tech is software. You build the software to make some predictive models.
Yes.
Simple.
Absolutely. Correct.
In agriculture also, you have software. When you call, like, say, technology is nothing but, there is other technologies. You have hydraulics works in farming, goes tilling, like say you have plowing, lot of things happening. So what we do is we use software for enabling or doing things better in agriculture. So two worlds actually, like agriculture is more mechanical, physical, and then software is coming from more technology. See, I can predict based on, like, say, whether.
Is there a device sitting in the farm, your device?
No, it's like we have our software. We give agricultural data to this. We as a feed kind of a thing. Like, say, I give farmer KYC, farm KYC.
So you're basically, if I'm the farmer, you're collecting data from me and feeding it in the system.
Yeah.
And from there, you're predicting how the next cycle of crop should be grown.
One thing is, I feed your farm soil data into the platform. Once I do that, platform tells you, like, say, it's idealistic condition for growing chili, or some changes need to be done. Some customization need to be done. Some customization could be on crop nutrition or pest management. There are two things: crop protection, which goes on pesticides; crop nutrition goes on fertilizers. Like, say, these are the two major parts. Yeah. So we look at that. And also, when we are working, we focus on soil health without disturbing the crop life cycle altogether. So by doing all this, doing technology interventions, and then we do, like, say, some kind of weather parameters, we are building, like, say, we built entire platform indigenously from day one to suit our needs, not like getting something from external thing or like ready-made
so
kind of
thing. Your own data practice.
We are data practice, yeah.
So I want to know, this data allows you to grow better for the next season and
yes,
enable
for the current season also. One, to cut down the wastage in the soil, crop life cycle itself. Cut down the wastage means, like I told you, 16 weeks, 16 sprays they make it. This is a normal practice.
Got it.
And if not 25, they make at least 16 sprays. Today, prescribed levels by any banks or financial institutions, all this they draw from scientific organizations like universities, KVKs, other research stations, and they build package of practices, say that this package of practices more optimally, realistically, like say 60,000 rupees I can give loan for this particular crop per year. But if you see that way, like say per crop spraying 1 week, like a typical 2,000 to 2,500 rupees. That's a range it goes. But in reality, farmer is spending 4,000 to 5,000 rupees today, which is becoming a stress. Why they are doing this is, one, they have a myth that if I put more nutrition or more pesticides or complex, whatever the fertilizers available in the market, they think that productivity will go up. It will not go up. Reality is it will not go up. Fact is, you spend 50,000 rupees more, maybe you might get 1 quintal, which is not in match. Like say, this is, you are putting 50,000 rupees on one side, you're expecting 15,000 rupees output. So there is no match. Krishikan is trying to optimize this or make sure that farmers spend only 2,000 rupees or 2,200 rupees per spray. By doing this, so entire cost, when you're talking about right now, it is in the range of 90 to 1 lakh rupees or maybe 1.2 lakh rupees. It is come down to 60,000 rupees, which is more optimized, prescribed levels.
So you're saying optimized cost per acre? That's
input cost. Input cost. See, once you're saving on inputs, obviously, like say, you have more money into the farmer's hand. One, by putting our package of practices right, we are getting the better yield in terms of quality and quantity. Quantity means at least 10% increase, which will be like 2 quintals. You take it. In today's market value, that is 40,000 rupees. In inputs, we are saving around 25 to 30,000 rupees, and output we are giving more money, like say 30-40,000 rupees. Overall, is farmer seeing 50,000 rupees more than whatever he's doing on his own kind of a thing.
So you don't enable
per acre.
Okay, per acre you've saved money on the input cost, but are you saving money on the output side also, where
we are making more money?
Yeah, for him.
Yeah.
So basically, you're taking the crop from him and selling it to processing unit.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So there is no multiple middleman layer, nothing.
No.
You buy it.
We pick it up at the farm gate. Once, like say, we work with the farmers throughout the life cycle, so we know the quality that is coming up. So 15 to 20 days before the first cutting starts, like say chili grows 3 cycles, like cutting wise, and turmeric goes in 1 cycle. But much before that, like say a farmer is getting ready for harvest, we work with farmers. We tell them what are the best harvesting practices. This will make them not to get into harvest losses. Like say if you see fruits and vegetables, by the time you cut and then to the last consumer, there is 38% overall supply chain losses in the fruits and vegetables. even in non-perishables like spices and all, there is some quantity that goes, like say some degraded quality it goes. That is a less money they get it kind of a thing. To avoid all that, we tell them to practice more farmer-friendly and industry-friendly practices. Like say, as low as one thing I can tell is, like say, when you pluck something from the when fruit become red, they pluck it. That's red chili, and they pick it at 30% moisture. So it has to come down to 12% moisture to make it like say.
So that's the deep science that you bring in.
Exactly. So when we do,
it's also common sense in many ways, right?
Yes.
This data is already there. They just have to understand.
Exactly. So to do that, we tell them don't put it on the soil directly, because already you pumped a lot of chemicals. So there is fruits can absorb at 30% moisture. So use tarpaulin sheets. So to avoid that contamination, and it also helps you dry faster. So it's all more like say saving the reducing the harvest losses for the farmer, so that again like making more money kind of thing to the farmer.
You know, in this brief conversation of 15 minutes, I've realized that you are saying that how can you be healthy unless you understand your body chemistry?
Absolutely.
And in our case, in farming, the body chemistries of soil, for example, or the properties of the soil are all dilapidated, destroyed. Right? And if that is the case, are we living a very healthy lifestyle? No.
Definitely no. Like see, if we talk about why I entered into spices. Spice is more than, it's like emotion. You talk about Andhra, they think that you think that it's a spicy food. First thing that you remember. And if you come to like say Karnataka side, little sweet sambar will be there. Kind of every region has their own taste, but we all live on spices. So 33% of our food basket goes to our spending of, like say, if you're spending 1,000 rupees, 300 to 350 rupees goes on spending on spices. It could be chili, it could be turmeric, black pepper, it could be cardamom, everything, ginger. Every spice has a medicinal property. And chili works as an anti-cancerogenic agent. And 2021, there is a Nobel Prize. There is we call it as CAP. A cap extraction, how the body temperature is maintained with the help of the cap. And this cap really helps. So there is a research around that. There is a Nobel Prize given for that particular research.
So basically, we have to take care of the way we grow this.
Yes, one is that. Second point is every spice has a medicinal property. Because of the way it is being done, it is working as a counterproductive.
That is so dangerous.
Exactly.
I mean, you're saying how many, let's say chili farmers in India, for example, how many of them would be doing the Krishikan way? Just as
maybe less than 5%. Total today maybe red chili especially grown in about 2 million acres. Out of which I can say 5% know what they're doing, remaining no.
Is that because they do scale and they want quick money, or is it because the supply chain consumption in India is growing?
Yes.
And they're forced to grow things fast?
More than faster to meet the demands, the volume. It has become a volume game. So to get the volume, I go with all kinds of practices that I know, which is not in line with what the plant needs or the crop needs. That is where the gap is today.
Okay, and you're also saying at the input level, the farmer is losing that kind of money. But if they come to your model, they save 20 to 30,000 rupees.
Yeah.
But the problem is they've also borrowed from the input guys. The input guys today are deciding what to grow, why to grow, right? They're the ones who are saying that, okay, use these type of seeds.
Yeah.
These type of saplings.
This game is, to talk about that, why per spray farmer is spending 4,000 rupees. Let's get there. See, typically farmer will, today what is happening, the regular practice is farmer goes with whenever there is a disease or some pest attack is there, they take one of the plants and then go to the nearest dealer or like pesticide shop and show that particular thing. These guys will, as the plant doctors, even though government and many organizations prescribe that there should be a educated guy, like a AGBSc guy need to be there to prescribe something, but mostly not. Yeah. And this guy writes it based on where the margins are there and then like say more margins are there. So obviously like say they'll make farmers spend more.
So it's 4,000 rupees per sprays, 12 sprays, 50,000.
16 sprays.
16 sprays. Oh, that's a lot. Okay.
Yeah. So it will go to 64,000 to maybe anything between 64 to 80,000 rupees on sprays, plus labor, plus seed cost. All that is going to 1.5 lakh. So typically, the scale of finance by any nationalized bank is today around 60,000 rupees plus labor. That should be done in 1 lakh. They are spending close to 1.5 lakh today.
So why are we in this? Again, the fundamental answer is yes, consumption is on the rise, which is great. But you're saying if our practices are that bad, we have a farming community that's indebted all the time, in debt, right?
Yeah.
The reason is because of the ecosystem that we've built over the years. I, for one, don't know. I've been out of farming. Our family has been out of farming for 50 years. So, what's going on? Because for many of us in the cities, we sit and order on Swiggy. Different types of spices, and and there's an organic story to things also. But what is the reality in the farm today, at least on the non-perishable side?
Major thing is most of the farmers, landlords who owns the land, they moved because of their children education, all that, and like this has all happened after 2000.
Okay, got it.
It's on the rise. So if I'm a landlord in my native Jamal Madugu or Gandikota, I look at like say I have 30 acres land, I give it off to lease. So I will not give 30 acres to one guy. I'll give it to 5 guys. So each guy will get 5 or 6 acres kind of a thing. What this guy will do? This guy is a lease farmer. Obviously, he is not having enough money. Like say to cultivate 5 acres of chili, I need to have 5 lakh rupees per year. So I'll not get. Obviously, maybe I can pool maybe 50,000 rupees or 1 lakh. That is sufficient for initial investment. For remaining 4 lakh, I depend on the local shop guy, because that guy knows that like I'm growing this. Obviously, when the crop is ready, I will take the money back, kind of a thing. So you are entering into a vicious circle there. So there is, because of a leased farmer, he cannot go and access to the bank and say that I'm a leased farmer, give me the loan, because unless you don't own the land, banks doesn't look at you.
Yes.
So they go to the guy, and then the ratio starts like 36% upwards for the loan that I'm getting it. He writes it like, so I'm giving 30,000, okay, 36%, all that. So
and the farmers sign up for it.
Yeah, they do, because they don't have any choice, right? Like, so if I have a choice, I'll go for like say 12%.
Okay, and it's interesting in your observation, you said there'll be 2 types of loans in India. That one is this 36% high interest rate loan, where they've collateralized the land, they've given it to the local shop inputs provider.
Yeah.
But there is also a side where you said they also get subsidies from the government, interest subsidies, of course. So they also collateralize the same land to the bank, right?
Yes. If I'm the owner,
in a way, they're stuck in both sides.
Yes.
But there are people who manage that.
Yes, that's where another problem is. Like, say that comes with Kisan credit card loans. So if I'm a owner, I go and pledge my land in the bank. Bank gives whatever the scale of finance, as I mentioned, 60,000 rupees they give it per acre. So I get 3 lakh rupees upfront. Like on day one, I get it. I go furnish my documents. I get 3 lakh rupees. Obviously, typically the entire game of inputs need to be staggered. It's not like one day kind of a thing. We are working with few NBFCs. We are asking them to design a product in terms of give the farmer loan in a staggered manner, monthly. Like say I have 6 months in crop cycle, give every month based on the need. And that money, we worked with one of the NBFCs, major NBFCs. We told them very clearly saying that when farmer buys the inputs, then only give the money to me. I will pay to the input manufacturer. So the model, we need to change this. But what banks are doing today, because they don't have infrastructure for this and they don't have manpower to do, like so one is software, second one is the manpower, go and inspect. Like say you take a home loan, how will happen? You first walls, you get 30%. After making roof, you get another 30%. Finish, floor by floor, lot of things happen. That doesn't happen in agriculture. See, even farmer gets entire amount on day of sowing. He doesn't spend because there is no time. The sowing, transplantation, there is a growth life cycle, fruiting stage, flowering stage. There are so many things. It doesn't happen that way here. That is where that is where the major flaw today.
So you are saying that man or woman may spend 15,000 on farming and the rest is on spent for a wedding or some other debt payment.
Whatever the need that day.
And on top of that, they've borrowed heavily from
Exactly.
from the
So there
input
is a
side.
double loan.
It's
One
double-edged sword now.
one is from the
Input guy.
like say the institutional banker, and other one is the local non-institutional local vendor.
And the interesting part is the children are also not interested in farming.
Absolutely.
And so these three are the main major problems today.
Yes.
So how does that get corrected? I mean, today, based on these three problems, there are a lot of agri-tech companies that are coming and saying farming should become data-led. Farming should, focus on not on yield but also on value in terms of nutrition.
Yeah.
But yet, many agri-tech companies came and went.
Yeah.
What was the reason? Is it because they focused on the feature more and the technology more rather than these kind of problems?
There are three reasons I can say, top three reasons. See, most of the companies either are on input side or on output side. There is something called bridge, life cycle, complete life cycle of the farm or crop. So when you need to build this bridge kind of a thing, and to build this bridge, you need to be really local, hyper local if you ask me. You use technology, means two-way. Like say I give a tool to the farmer so that he can pump me the data, send photograph or something, or deploy your people for some time, or majorly extension work actually that need to happen here. This is where very few companies are concentrating today. Until unless this bridge is filled completely, whatever you talk about technology, bringing technology on output or input or output doesn't make sense. This is where Krishikan is playing a major role of bridging this. One. Second thing is, like say, companies bringing a lot of technology, data analysis, artificial intelligence, even to get only the input part of it. Input, I can tell like saying that, okay, week 16, there is a region called Prakasham district and there are 25,000 acres of chili is there. This need to go as an input. You can tell that, but who will make sure that that is whether done, used it, when used it, how much used it. That kind of data is nobody is getting it today.
Okay.
So this input company is only concentrating on their top line and their bottom line. When it comes to output, output is a much bigger game. Today, like by the time from farm to the end user, there are 6 to 7 people involved. Or like say minimum is 4 layers and goes to 7 layers.
Raj, you spoke about the input side and what you want to tackle. On the output side, you said there are several problems that one has to tackle too in Indian farming. What are they?
The major problem on output side is like say a farmer comes to like say nearest APMC mandi and sells a produce, or they will sell it to the local aggregator. Say you talk about like say who is consuming spices, like any product for that matter. You buy paddy or chili or whatever. We don't eat chili as chili. We make it as a powder or masala powder or something. Even turmeric also, like say you powder it, mix it, either consume it directly or mix it in masalas. So you have a village level aggregator, you have a mandal level aggregator, you have like say taluk level. There are hands, like 3-4 hands. Before starting this, I was a farmer. I was growing vegetables. I studied this very well. Okay, I was doing about 50 acres of okra in Anantapur district. I used to sell it to care market. One guy in the morning, 11 o'clock, he comes, picks it up at my farm, and then he goes wherever like nearby villages, okra. He collects about like 1,000 kg, 2,000 kg. And goes like that, and he hand over to like the next level guy at Dharmavaram. That's like a mandal headquarter kind of hub kind of a thing. And sometimes it goes to Anantapur and comes to Bangalore, or like from because it's closer by, like 2 levels it changes and comes to care market. Similar model, like you talk about any commodity or any crop for that matter, you have 3-4 layers there.
Isn't that layer adding value for years and generations?
Not really. Like say, actually, like maybe this model would have been very valuable maybe 30 years back because one reason is discovery was difficult, transportation was difficult, and then you need bagging, packing, handling, a lot of things are there. But today, like with evolution of knowledge, geo presence, like YouTube, technology, everything you can see, learn kind of a thing you can carry easily. Or like there are so much knowledge about the nearest mandis.
And in Karnataka, government allows you to sell directly to retailers, farmers.
Yes, exactly. So there are like companies like Big Basket. There are so many companies have come, online companies. They have their own collection centers. Ninja Cot also runs few of the collection center. I can go and give it to them. But important thing is these guys, like, so whenever I used to typically when I see Bangalore KR market price is 30 rupees, at the farm I realize at about 16 rupees. That's close to around 50% kind of a thing. Remaining 50%, when I wanted to understand, when I asked the guy, like, sir, two levels here, 2 levels in city kind of a thing. So obviously they route it, a lot of things happen. Some goes to care market, some goes to Whitefield, some goes to Electron City area. There are mandis also, different places, right? So everywhere, like, see, even red chili also, village level, mandal level, taluk level, and then means this guy gives 10 bags. Next guy, by the time it goes 100 bags, but you want to make a truck, you need to have 400 bags. So these guys do multiple trucks every day.
Isn't it because India is fragmented in terms of our land holding? Therefore, this model works.
Not always. There is no value addition as such. There is one layer, probably yes.
Okay.
One layer between the farmer. If farmer don't want to take it to the mandi, one layer is good enough. But these guys add 2%, 2%, 3% to the whatever the farm gate price, and then they change hands kind of a thing. And even at mandi, like say mandi to factory, most of the companies, they don't buy directly from mandi. They also have like the suppliers in between. They approach these guys. They come to the mandi. Like they'll buy again, like say pulling from different shops. And then they also aggregate it and then like process it and sense it kind of a thing. What Krishikan is doing is like, so we are actually removing all these layers from the farm gate. We know the quality that we are getting because we also traveled backwards with the farmers for the last 6 months. We know what the quality it comes consistently. Consistency is a major problem for the industry today. And for farmer, when he sells it at farm gate to a aggregator, the layers, the money need to come back into the layers. By the time farmer realizes, it will take anything between a month to 3 months time. Even at the mandi also, sometimes they get full money, sometimes they will get 6 months. A lot of things are there. So the major problem for farmer is paying on time. Getting money for the sale of their produce on time is a major problem today. A farmer doesn't feel bad or something, like even it is changing hands and people are making 2%. He thinks that is service fees for the things being done kind of a thing. But actually, today 100 rupees is not equal to after 6 months it's 100 rupees, right? You have inflation and all that. You're degrading 3 rupees and then similarly. Like, so for farmer, payment getting on time is a major problem. One. Second is the fair price. Say mandi price is 100 rupees. Farmer might get like say 80 rupees. Typically, if somebody is picking up at the farm gate, the guy need to pick up at like say 95 or 93.
So Agri-Tech is not solving these things, inputs and outputs.
Some are solving, some are not.
It's very broken.
It's a fragmented again. Like say it's like very inconsistently being done kind of a thing. Because very few companies are going to the farm gate and buying it today. Fruits and vegetables, it's a different ballgame altogether. There is a perishability angle. Non-perishable, some crops being like picked up at the farm gate or some at the mandi, majorly at the mandi, that as I have seen kind of a thing. And second thing is for factory, right? We talk about industry. For farmer side, there's a major problem. One is the fair price detection. Second is the getting the payment back on time. These are two major problems farmer is having. When it comes to industry, when he gets like typically a truckload of chili means it is a 400 bags, 15 metric ton. And to get 15 metric ton, you need to get at least from 7 to 10 acres. And 7 to 10 acres will not come from one guy. Typically 5-6 farmers kind of accumulation in the peak season kind of. So there won't be any consistent. But if you are working with a farmer, you know the consistency part of it. It's like, see, consistency up to 2 to 5% is okay. What people say is today these middlemen, they understand the quality and then they also like working with these industries. So 200 bags, they fill it with one quality and remaining 200 bags. Typically the top layer will be perfectly whatever industry is asking. Remaining there is a manipulation around that particular thing. So there is a huge demand or like say need for the factories to look at the consistent produce. That is why they are looking at Agri-Techs to solve the problem.
I hope they solve it. I mean, with problems come entrepreneurship. And Agri-Tech, like I said, is a 10-year journey.
Yeah.
Many of them have sold more tech and hence have failed.
Yeah.
But those who understand farmer level problems, they can grow better, you're saying.
Exactly. See, I worked for companies like GE, Honeywell, and these companies used to spend about 10 to 15% on IT side of it, information technology. Yes. See, for GE power controls is the major business. Technology, software is an enabler. Agriculture is industry on its own.
Yes.
And software or technology that you bring in is an enabler to make the inefficiencies removed or make the things better way of doing it. See, if I want to discover the price or say find 6 months average price kind of a thing, how it is, where the fluctuations are there and then where the gaps are there. If I use technology, I can load say Guntur market data from June 1st, 2022 to December 1st, 2022. What is the peak going up? If you take 10 years, this helps to make my pricing decisions. But technology will not tell me when to buy or how to buy kind of a thing. You talk about AI or intelligence, right? It may tell you, but may or may not be right kind of a thing. There, again, human intelligence need to come in. This is where there are limitations in terms of usage of technology, but these two need to marry to extent where it's supposed to be, not too much extra, say as we populate, we talk about, I use only tech to solve the problem. Definitely no. Say simple thing, I'll tell you.
I know you're all farmers like WhatsApp. You guys are a major WhatsApp group, Krishikan. You get all your updates on WhatsApp also, right? On what's happening in that particular farm.
Yes, we go to the farm and then we build the entire technology. My guy goes, our farmer wants to report any problem. We have a technology tool and then they can pump the location and then take few photographs and then tell what is the problem is. And then everything is processed back end by my agronomist, central agronomy team, and then goes back and say that this is what need to be done. Most of it, say 80 to 85% of the problems, we know it and then we are ready for that proactively. Remaining 10 to 15% is reactive. For that, we use this technology.
And they use a Krishikan app or they use a website or how does that work?
We have a Krishikan web extended tool actually. We don't have an app as such, Android app, but we have so take a photograph and then put it on WhatsApp group for the farmers. But for my employees, they can have the tech tool is enabled on their phones.
I understand. So if the farmer not loaded with tech, he uses WhatsApp, says this is my problem.
Simple. Yeah.
But for you, it's an internal tool that you
exactly. Process it.
Okay. Where is Agri-Tech heading for the next 5 years? Positive notes, or if I list a few problems from the Indian agriculture perspective, we listed 2 problems out. One is younger people not being interested in farming. Second one, we have destroyed the body chemistry or the health of the soil, for example. And on top of that, farmers are obviously in debt, majority of them. If you see these overarching problems, right, if you want to list the top 3 problems and how they have to be solved for Agri-Tech to solve, what are those problems?
One problem is, the top most problem today is you need to, say, soil health. Soil health derives or determines the productivity of the
nation,
productivity of the crop,
farm itself,
and also nation also. Yes, of course, yes. One is if soil soil health problem. One is food problem will be solved, and our exportability means sending it to other countries also will be addressed. Modi government in say 2016-17, they rolled out soil health card. Very good initiative, but it should be, the essence is they told saying that what is the need of the soil health, and they've given every farmer or every land has a soil health card. As say every 6 months our body health parameters changes, soil also changes. We need to do that. We need to inculcate that particular habit. Okay, I'm going for a sowing, let me do my soil health test actually. So this is where the problem is today. Soil health or the soil testing labs are fragmented across India, and then we take the benchmark against ICRISAT lab in Hyderabad, and then KVK's run tests and all. There are few startups working on soil health. There are IIT Kanpur has done a lot of work on solving soil health testing problems, all that. Important thing is, we need to, now the evolution of technology again here, which we are trying to integrate with working with few of the tech startups. Get me 6 parameters. Typically, NPK is whatever you get it. pH of the soil is very important, whether acidic or alkaline, and soil organic carbon and electric conductivity. If I get the 6 parameters right, I can do whatever the thing. There are so many tools are coming out. Some are portable, some are like say, satellite based, all that. We are actually seeing some kind of a good traction around that. Once we get that right, and you are solving 50% of the problem.
Okay.
Remaining 50% of it's a human behavior. The second problem that I see is map this soil health to say whatever the inputs part of it. Like say there are guidelines. Agricultural universities are spending a lot of time in defining it or say making it right. All this. Third problem is inputs. See, you know what to do, you know how to do, and then when to do is when and what amount need to be done. These when and what is the problems that need to be solved more systematically. Recently, Amazon India also told that we'll open close to 50 stores across India or 50,000 stores across India for agricultural purpose. These are the things will change the entire ecosystem, how we use inputs kind of a thing. More rationality will come into picture. And very important thing, very important thing, which is causing major problem for human health is usage of red and yellow chemicals. Every agrochemical, if you see turn back and you see the triangle shape toxicity levels, there are 4 types of toxicity levels: green, blue, yellow and red. Most of the countries banned red. We are still selling in India. It needs to be banned actually. Central government is making a lot of efforts driving people towards residue-free practices and all. To get there, red and yellow need to be removed completely from the ecosystem. So it is it's easy for us. Say if you control at manufacturers and it is not coming to the retailer, retailer can't sell it. So you need to systemically work on this and solve this problem. Once we stop doing this, there will be only 2 left out molecules. One is green and blue, which is which is most advanced and then more user friendly, and then for both soil and for the human. So this need to be 3 steps. One is the soil health need to be done. Research organizations like universities, all this need to be strengthened. And third thing is the inputs rationality, how to use, typically when, how, what, and when kind of a thing. These are the 3-4 problems if we solve it right.
I think nobody would have said it better. You're saying we understand the problems at hand. We just have to implement them, use this data better.
Absolutely.
And I like what you said. If you solve soil health, everything else is solved because there's data after that.
Of course.
You just plug in each of it and make sure that way the farmer doesn't have to get into debt as well.
Exactly.
So these old systemic practices will change.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, my main concern now is everybody blames the government for the way things are going in agriculture, but because they say the election year, maybe they will give sops to farmers, but you are also saying that government has tried proactively to improve Indian agriculture. Now they've also mooted something called the Agri-Stack. They've also talked about computerization of a lot of the agri districts and mandis just to help farmers better.
Yeah.
Right? And is the budget announcements apart, what's been progressive about what's going on in India over the last 10 years?
If you take last 10 years, the biggest revolution that I can say is the soil health card, which is a big step towards the change that we are looking at. See, we are always in complaining mode. This is not there, that is not there kind of a thing. And second important thing is they're actually putting more focus on the research part of it. Say the crops wise and research stations that they're building across the country. And then they're also building to reduce the debt part of it. One of the 3 problems that we discussed.
The government said we have to reduce agri-debt.
Debt, right? So government's putting Rait Bandhu or central, Pradhan Mantri schemes to reduce, give some kind of a support on it, to buy inputs, all that. So there are clear direction set. In terms of they are bringing a lot of organic or residue-free farming practices, majorly for the reason that they want to reduce the consumption of harmful chemicals, as I mentioned, red and yellow, in terms of to more subjective or in manner. Very clearly, they are putting one soil health card. They have done it, and then financial support. They are doing it. They are also given private players, especially agri startups, some kind of funding in terms of supply chain financing, to reduce their debt depending on NBFC is charging like say 25% kind of a thing. These guys are giving like 2 crores. And in some kind of technology development funds, they are building it to build like a little more technology. Like as I was talking about, soil health tools are there, marrying that with your software, and then bring some kind of a synergy so that like say it will useful for the more predictive manner. And government also is putting efforts. Like say some of the state governments also insisting on extension offices system, so that they go to the farms, village level, like talk to the farmers, collect some kind of a data back. And Krishikan is also, like I said, trying every aspect of it very, very clearly and very focus. We are keeping too much focus on it. We know what we are doing very clearly. We have very limited funds. We are like, when we talk about a problem, we look at like say what can be solved and how it should be. We have a vision that we need to get there. To travel that, what are the funds that we have available, like resources, I can say. With that resources we have it, Krishikan is traveling and then making step by step ahead of it.
No, so you will plug into the government's agri-stack, so to speak. You're basically saying that government's done all the effort. You're also doing some of those things where you can plug into that agri-stack. Like we have a payment stack, we'll have a logistics stack.
Yep.
We'll also have an agri-stack.
Yep.
And that will change, hopefully it will change Indian agriculture.
Absolutely. So we work on farmers on soil health. We guide them on inputs. Even in our first year of our operations, we worked with an NBFC, finance the farmers on inputs. We provide complete agronomy all the time. We buy it, like say, at the farm gate and then give it to the industry. And we also pay the farmers within 15 days directly to their bank account. Every payment goes to direct bank transfer to their accounts. So no delays, no complaints so far.
How many of those Jan-Dhan accounts do you think farmers, these zero balance accounts, has it benefited farmers?
Farmers who have the land not eligible for Jan-Dhan accounts. Farm labor, yes, probably.
Yes. Has it helped them?
Kind of, but not completely. It is meant for only to get the government schemes directly to their account.
Benefits,
yes. And there are so many things tied to it. It is, I can say it's a 50-50 at this point of time.
It's a long way to go. Okay. In your case, you're raising money. You're looking for investors. I hope they talk to you.
Yeah.
You're only doing non-perishables, right?
Yeah. See, there is a reason for Krishikan doing non-perishables because before I'm in the Agri-Tech space, this is my third startup, and worked on input side primarily in my first startup. Second startup is perishables and vegetable side of it. And I concentrate only on the soil in my second startup. So when I look at it, right, like say, we talk about fruits and vegetable space is heavily seen, heavily crowded kind of a thing. And then everybody is talking about wastage, cutting down the waste kind of a thing. But reality is non-perishables also needs a lot of attention. And then there is a lot of dollar income around this particular thing, non-perishable, especially spices as a domain. The entire world is looking at India to supply spices, no matter what.
Then you're in a good space then. I'm sure you're going to grow as a company.
Exactly. So that's where we are heading to. Our entire thought process or focus before I starting it, I thought I want to be non-perishables first thing. And then it is a lot of discovery need to happen in this space, because even though we are doing it for thousands of years in India, like say, whatever you talk about, cardamom, like say turmeric, pepper, red chili, all this. Important thing is the discovery need to happen with respect to productivity, first thing. Second thing is the quality. Once these two works perfectly in tandem, we will be export ready. So we are actually heading towards all our practices. Focus is on moving this domain or this particular ecosystem towards residue free first. So we will be clearly called out or known in the space for better agriculture practices, and we are globally ready. Anybody, like you talk about USFDA or Eurofin, whatever you call it as, we are preparing for that. And then entire focus is just not like say, we are disrupting for sure, but we are disrupting to add a lot of value on quality.
No, I wish you all the best. And my final question to you is this. What next for you in the next 18 months? Will you be hiring more? Obviously, you're on a fundraise. What is the typical size you're looking at?
Our currently team, we are at 30. We want to head this to at least 75 in next 18 months with a clear focus on building a little more tech on it. And then we are actually expanding into more crops. Like say we are currently handling red chili and turmeric. We are heading towards like say black pepper, ginger and few other crops.
Nice.
And making the basket full kind of a thing. And then both on
and work with B2B companies,
B2B companies, and then
mostly processing, right?
Mostly processing. Also, if you are buying any red chili in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi, Mumbai, from Big Basket, BB Royal brand, that is us. Backend is us.
Fantastic. And most of these orders are on every season. They do a market purchase, early market purchase, contract basis.
We do both actually. Like say, we work with factories
They
much
give you
ahead.
advance orders saying that this
Yes.
is what I
This
need
is
in December.
my focus area, and this is where we are heading to. And then like say, I'm looking at like say last year I've done 15,000 crushing, 15,000 metric ton. This year we are looking at 20,000. These are the qualities that I wanted and varieties also.
And,
we understand that
and
very
you
well.
guarantee that produce.
Yes, we do that, and also
80%,
quality.
100% guarantee.
We do 100%. Whatever they wanted, we are supplying at this point of
You
time.
didn't answer how much money do you want to raise. Is there a thought process in that?
We are in the process of raising 4 to 6 million, and then putting back into entire money into growing this company to next level.
Okay.
Very clearly.
Absolutely. And all the best to you. One more question. Do you read? Do you get inspired by movies or books? Or do you have any recommendations for our audience?
There is a book called 0 to 1.
Yeah.
Very important thing is many guys like say if somebody has done it some part of the world or like say here, okay, fruits and vegetable space I can talk about. There are companies started like say 10 years back, and even startups like say 2-3 years back also. I'm doing it like this little differently, so I want to be called out and then I can raise money. That doesn't help actually. Like say if you really take a problem, marry to that problem, and then first you be like say completely digest that particular problem that you have it, clearly call out the problem and put a solution. When there is always say in the market, right? Like so whenever there is a bubble burst and then there is a recession, people talk about, do you really need, or your solution is really required for that particular market at that particular point of time? You ask that question in the beginning before wasting out time. You put your startup, your first important thing is forget about the money is coming from external world like VCs or PEs. First look at your own time. You spend like say you spend 1 year, 2 years, and later you know that like say, oh, market don't need my solution. Instead of that, ask on day one, do really there is a customer for this, and am I solving a real problem?
Okay.
Real problem.
Tough question.
Yeah.
How big is the turmeric market in India?
Turmeric market in India, maybe like say I can tell overall spices, it's a $20 billion market.
And exports, how much of it would be exports?
Less than 5%, I can say.
So you're saying that can improve?
Yeah, that can improve a lot. And then today 20 billion, and then like say I can tell you the quote Ascendas report 2021. They projected Indian masala market is at 50,000 crores, heading towards 1 lakh crores by 2025.
Okay. That's about 5 to 6 billion market size. 50,000 crores, right?
50,000 today is close to 6 billion, 6.5, close, heading towards masala market itself. Masala market, blended spices I'm talking about. That itself is going towards $13 to $14 billion in next 2 years.
So you're again in a pretty space, and therefore 0 to 1. Think about why you're there. Is it really impacting the market? And therefore the book 0 to 1.
Exactly. It's you are creating a real problem or not is the first question. And then you are like say many people are there. I also be there kind of a thing. Definitely no. Look at what is your USP and what are you trying to solve it. And with that in mind, you build your business model. And you have always as an entrepreneur or a guy who is doing business, you have right to change a hop. Like say you make different business model, but your core business should not change. Like say today I do spices, tomorrow I'll jump into fruits and vegetables. There is nothing like say everybody can do everything if you have money, right? But important thing is you see large companies. So GE never invested in search engine space. Otherwise, GE had like say there were like say what do you call Fortune 1 company, like so when Google started in 1998. They also had a lot of money, more money than whatever Google at that point of time. They never got into it. But stick to your relevance, your presence on. You can evaluate, you can invest in it. Investing is something different. That's a little different phenomenon. You're doing business, do in your space, right? And then make your relevance present. Means your solution makes sense.
Okay, got it. And hence 0 to 1. Thank you so much. Raj, all the best to you. That was a very candid discussion on Indian agriculture. And those of you watching this, check out Krishikan. Do raise money. Raj, I hope this podcast helps you in raising money. And if not for raising money, some knowledge for you guys.
Yes. Thank you so much.